Welcome back to the Great Aussie Pub Crawl Drinkers as we continue our journey along the Great Ocean Road to Torquay, where we get to enjoy pub number 6 at the Torquay Hotel. Now, for those who have travelled from Apollo Bay to Torquay, you will know that this is the scenery for most of the journey. We've got cliffs and hills on the left and ocean on the right. The most difficult part of this journey, though, drinkers, is keeping your eyes on the road and not at this awesome scenery. Take a look at that. Is that candy for the eyes or what? Fortunately, I did avoid driving straight into the ocean and made it to the caravan park, where I got myself checked in. And then I got myself set up and decided to take my deadly treadly out for a burn along the Surf Coast Walk. Now, I'm not sure if riders are very welcome along this track, drinkers, but I gave it a burst anyway, trying my best to avoid any pedestrians and the head dogs. Now, this walkway along the esplanade goes for ages, hey, and is far too long for my old legs. Plus, I got oh, excuse me, look at this, in and out. And plus, I got other adventures to investigate. Now, once I got to the War Memorial, which is right at the point here of Torquay, you'll see it coming up on the second there, and here it is. Now, once I got there, straight up, drinkers, I started getting very, very thirsty. So, I went to the beach hotel, where I had myself a few little drinks there. As you can see, I've got myself a little Cooper's. Didn't mind that one, that went down a treat, before heading off to the Archers Bar. Now, it wasn't until I got to the Archers that I realised it's a wine bar. But I thought to myself, treat yourself to a posh little Shiraz Rich and head on down to the Bombura's Beach Bar. This is right on the beach, folks, and I got myself a pint and enjoyed the view that you get from there. Look at that, eh? How this place wasn't packed. Now, I was lucky enough, look at that, I got myself to the Bowls Club, where I had myself a pint. I wasn't expecting that one, because that's where I was heading, to the Torquay Hotel, where I had a little look inside, spoke to the staff, let them know what was happening on the Saturday, and had far too many of those Coopers. The following morning, I decided to head down to the beach and have a little leisurely stroll along the water's edge there, where I got to say morning 47 times to all my fellow beachcombers before heading out and starting to do some sightseeing. Plenty of lookouts along the way here, folks, along the coast, many of which look very similar to each other. And I kept on going along there, seeing all the surfers going on there. And that's when I realised, drinkers, that there are two things that you can do in Torquay. You can go surfing, just like these guys, or you can go drinking. And that's when I realised that this was as close to surfing as I was ever going to get. So I decided to head on down to the Black Man's Brewery. Even though I was the wrong colour, I went in there anyway, checked it out. They got an indoor and outdoor area and a lovely beer garden. Too cold for me, so I just got myself a paddle of their strongest, sculled that, and moved on down to the Four Pines Brewery Company. Hey, have a look at that joint, eh? Upstairs you got to go. Pretty posh inside. They've got a little viewing deck out the front there. So that's where I went. Ordered myself another dark ale before heading to the Bells Beach Brewery. That's another little place around the corner. That's not as big as the other joints, but they serve a nice chocolate stout. Oh, geez, that went down a treat, drinkers. I love that. and finished up at the tap house there, which is abuts to my caravan park, so I naturally went inside there, checked it out. That place is huge, and had various stouts before I just staggered myself home. Now the next morning I was up bright and early and made my way down to the front beach and decided to get my feet wet in the freezing cold water in the hope to kickstart that energy I required for the big day ahead of me. And on my way back to the caravan park, I stumbled upon this little shindig they were setting up to celebrate the arrival of the Surf Coast trekkers after their huge 40-kilometre walk, which is way out of my league, drinkers. So I'm heading off to the Torquay hotel and I stumble onto some local footy happening and was fortunate enough to capture some entertaining footy moments like these. Let's have a quick look. Oh, he threw that. Look at that. And he threw that. Here we go. Here we go. He's coming out. He's come on. My parents here. Don't mess it up. Oh, no. Oh, no. Here we go. Possible goal moment. He has a shot. Have a look at that pearler of a goal, drinkers. And after a 10-minute walk from the caravan park, I find myself out the front of the Torquay hotel, ready for my big day.
G'day, drinkers. The sun is finally shining here in Torquay as we're about to mix it up at the Torquay Hotel, which is pub number 6 of this epic Great Aussie Pub Crawl. Let's see what has in store for us today, eh?
As I wander inside, hey, look at that, they got a pool table. Quite happy with that. What's going on here? Hey, a bit of TAB, let the punters have a decent day. Let's see if they got Coopers on tap, mate. Nope. G'day, mate. Nope. There you go. Not happy, no Coopers. Got a lot of tellies. Got themselves a stage. Man, I hope I don't perform on that later. Let's keep people here. Oh, another little bar. Let's see what the beer garden's like, eh? Pretty big indeed. Have a look at that. Up in there, look, they've got a little cancer corner there for the smokers. A few people here already, not bad. Let's see if these guys have got Coopers. Nope. Nope. They got a lonely plant. No Coopers there, no Coopers there. Got the footy on the big screen happening there, and if you haven't got any ID, you can quickly get yourself a new one. Which brings us to my favourite time of the day, Cooper's o'clock. Cheers, mate.
Okay, drinkers, here we go. Point number 1, Cooper's Pale, as always. $8.50. Not bad at all. Let's see what it tastes like, eh? As expected. Lovely.
And now it's time for a graze. As you can see, they got an all-day menu there. A few pizzas on offer, but I decided, after looking at that, I got myself a nasi goreng, which is basically some fancy fried rice. As I pressed on throughout the day, I noticed there were a few locals and travellers breezing in and out of the beer garden, and none of them were at all interested in the footy happening on the big screen. As you can see, it's pretty tame, so I took a little wander inside to see what was happening, which wasn't much, and after some tedious negotiations with the security staff, I fired up the closest to the Coopers game. This is a game where they've got a 20-cent piece and they got to throw or flick that coin as close as they can to the Cooper's bottle. The closest gets themselves a freebie drink. This guy here, he applied some early pressure with this shot. Look at that. Yes. He got excited over that one, drinkers. The rest of them didn't even stand a chance. They weren't even getting close. This game, however, was by far the most popular game I've played throughout the pub crawl. Everyone having a go. We had at least 20 competitors. Most of all, weren't even getting a sniff. But at one stage though, we got a tiny bit excited. Yes. Yes. But no cigar. We pressed on, kept having a crack. Everyone had their own little style. Some were doing a bit of preaching beforehand, praying to God that they won. We had a bit of coaching. That didn't seem to work, but then this guy rocked up. Check out that shot. Oh, right next to the bottle there. So we celebrated his drink, and we had a bit of a yarn, and had a good night from there on.
G'day drinkers! That concludes another day and night of the Great Aussie Pub Crawl. This is Rich signing off at the Torquay Hotel, San Remo. Look out for me-o.
As always, I'd like to thank all the staff and drinkers I caught up with throughout the day. Your participation and support is always muchly appreciated. Cheers. Now, if you enjoyed only a tiny bit of this video and would like to see more, please let me know by making a comment, pressing the like button and sharing it with others. To ensure you don't miss out, tap that follow or subscribe button. It costs you nothing, but means everything to me. Stay tuned for the next one.